Alright, welcome back to Hot Topics TV, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video is uploaded to Hot Topics TV. Let's get right into the story. According to MSN, police have still not made an arrest in the death of 3 black girls who cops had claimed drowned last summer. Now, after the cops claimed that these 3 girls drowned, autopsy indicated evidence of strangulation. So this looks more like a homicide than it looks like accidental drowning of 3 young girls. But someone's got to ask themselves, how did 3 siblings drown at the same time? Was one in trouble and another went to save her, and then the other one went to save the other 2, and all 3 got in trouble in the water because they probably couldn't swim and the water was too high or too deep? That's what I thought at first, right? But looking at the story, I have so many questions. Now, you might not know about this, but just know that there were 3 beautiful little young girls, 3 black girls, that died, and there isn't much that has come out of it so far. According to MSN, 9 months after the death of 3 young sisters, Texas is where they're from, the cops have yet to make an arrest. After an official autopsy report that was released last month confirms that the girls were likely to have been strangled. For those who aren't familiar with this tragic story, Zai Ariel Robinson Oliver, 9 years old, A. Mia Hughes, 8 years old, and Tamari Robinson Oliver, 5 years old. They were reported missing on July 28th, 2022 in Atlanta, Texas. I didn't even know there was an Atlanta in Texas. I was confused the first time I read the report. I thought someone was reporting from Atlanta, but put Texas in it. Atlanta, Georgia, but there is an Atlanta in Texas. Okay, you learn something new every day. That's neither here nor there. According to the police report, the 3 girls, they were actually left in the company of an older cousin named Paris Props, who was supposed to be watching them while their mother was at work. On July 29th, all 3 bodies were found in a nearby pond. They were reported missing on July 28th. Their bodies were discovered a day later. Now, at the time that their bodies were found, the local law enforcement officials had said that they believed that all of the girls had drowned, but a medical examiner has since disputed those claims, saying that there was clear evidence that they had been strangled. The Cass County District Attorney's Office has since announced in a statement that they have opened a homicide investigation in the mysterious death of the 3 siblings who were also said to have suffered lacerations to their faces. Their faces were cut up. There's evidence of strangulation. Now, I don't know who did this, but whoever did this, I see more than one person's doing this. This is a wicked act, you know? And I don't know if you watched the show that's called The First 48, where they tell you that it's critical when investigating such a case that, you get to it within the first 48 hours, because that's where the most evidence will be found. That's where, if it's a murder, you're hot on the trails of the person who actually did it, the culprit. A lot of things start to diminish the chances of actually closing the case and getting someone who did it. After 48 hours, those chances start to diminish significantly. After weeks, it's almost a cold case that will probably take years to solve, if ever. So, time is of the essence in this case in particular. Now, one can only imagine the suffering that their families had to endure after the the last few months, particularly the mother who new Black Panther Nation leader Minister Quanell X says had already suspected that her daughters didn't just drown in a pond. I guess she went to the Black Panthers for some kind of help because she doesn't feel like law enforcement is doing anything. Or maybe the Black Panther representative here, the nation leader, Minister Quanell X, maybe he's just giving his opinion. Now, she was told that they drowned, but she always had a suspicious feeling that the girls did not drown. Well, her suspicions were confirmed by the autopsies that the girls did not drown. In a press conference that was held in Cass County earlier this month, the district attorney's office will evidently face a lot of pressure to find further evidence that can lead to a potential suspect now that the autopsy findings has been released. But from their statement, it seems as if they are already getting closer to tracking down who could have been responsible for the senseless killings of these siblings. Multiple witnesses' statements have been obtained. DNA testing is still ongoing and the investigation will continue, the DA office also said. Now, what's particularly troubling about this case is that, according to reports, because of Cass County's small population, the town doesn't necessarily have the resources to investigate cases involving 3 homicides. In the United States of America today, in 2023. Now, Quanell argued that, that's Quanell X, argued that the reason that their deaths were claimed to have stemmed from drowning was because of the lazy investigation that was performed after their bodies were discovered. You know, they first found the 3 bodies and they just chalked it up to, 3 little girls skipped off into a pond and drowned. They didn't bother to look for foul play, according to Quanell. They didn't bother to look for foul play. They didn't bother to do any further investigations, any deep investigations, ask questions, knock on doors. You know, they didn't bother with all of that. They just chucked it up to accidental death by drowning. What investigators were lacking was the training that was necessary to properly address and investigate the crime scene, is what Quanell X said. Furthermore, with so much time having passed, it's unclear whether that suspect or suspects are even still in the same state. They probably, feel like, damn, the bodies were discovered. They're probably going to discover that it's me or it's us. Let's get out of here. Pack their bags and they're out of there, living in another state far away, which will make this even harder to solve. And that by allowing so much time to pass, law enforcement officials may have made it even harder now to track down those who are actually responsible for this whole situation. Now, as for why it's taken so long to obtain the results of the autopsy, that apparently came back down to the lack of resources in the town again. Again, like I said, in 2023, in the United States of America. They send these autopsies off to a whole different county, hours away from where they're located, from that county. If it was Gabby Petito, the world would have come to a stop. Forensic Studies professor of Florida Gulf Coast University said. Let me report that again. If it was Gabby Petito, the world would have come to a stop. Forensic Studies professor at Florida Gulf Coast University said. In other words, it's 3 little black girls, so nobody is really worried about the whole situation. It hasn't caused an alarm. There aren't a group of people marching out in the streets and growing in numbers, protesting for law enforcement to get on top of it and do. Like, there's no sense of urgency or emergency in this situation for justice. Nobody really cares. Like, no one is saying out loud in public, this is a travesty. This is wickedness. This should never have happened. We failed these 3 little girls. Let's go find them. Okay, we found their bodies. Autopsy says they were strangled and mutilated. Let's try to find who did this, and let's work diligently, and let's put this everywhere. Let's raise an alarm, something. Nope, it's pretty quiet. And I'm sure a lot of people that are hearing this video right here as I'm speaking, it's your first time probably hearing about this. That's to show you how hush this whole situation is, right? I can't even say much. The only thing I can say in this situation is they still haven't done anything. I discovered this case almost a month ago, and I was flabbergasted to learn of how the case was being investigated and how lackadaisical and how relaxed everybody that was involved with the case are. I don't know. I don't know what to say as a solution. Like, raise the alarm, ring the alarm, somebody say something. These three little girls deserve justice. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.